Have you ever longed for a place where time moves slower, where mornings smell like fresh bread and the nights glow with lantern light instead of neon signs? Some say such towns don't exist anymore, that they belong only in dreams. But tonight, I'll take you to one. A place where the rain hums softly against rooftops, and even the moon seems to linger a little longer in the sky. Welcome, dear dreamer, to Maple Hollow. Far away from the rush of cities and the restless hum of traffic, there lies a quiet town tucked between two sleepy hills, a place called Maple Hollow. It's the kind of town you might pass by without noticing. Just a few cobblestone streets, an old bakery that smells like cinnamon every morning, and a row of maple trees that whisper to one another when the wind drifts through. At night, Maple Hollow glows softly. The townspeople light their little lanterns, placing them by their doors, their windows, even along the paths that lead to the river. From a distance, it looks as though the stars have come down to rest upon the earth. Every evening when the church bell rings 8 times, Eleanor Finch, the town's librarian, closes her bookshop-sized library. She locks the door, tucks her scarf tighter around her neck, and begins her slow walk home through the mist.
Eleanor's boots clicked softly against the cobblestones as she walked. The rain had stopped now, leaving a thin shimmer of silver on every stone, every leaf. The scent of wet earth and maple wood filled the air, that sweet, calming smell that told everyone in town that the day had finally gone to sleep. She passed the bakery, where a dim light still burned inside. Old Mrs. Halloway was finishing her final batch of bread for the morning. Through the fogged window, Eleanor could see her humming an old tune, the same one she'd hummed for 40 years. "Evening, Eleanor," the baker called softly through the half-open window. "Evening, Mabel," Eleanor replied, smiling. "You'll spoil us again tomorrow with those cinnamon rolls." Mabel laughed quietly, waving her flour-dusted hand. "If the good Lord lets me, dear." Eleanor walked on, feeling the warmth of the town around her, not from the lamps or the houses, but from the hearts that quietly cared for one another. Here, no one hurried, no one shouted. The world was slower, softer. As she neared her home by the river, Eleanor noticed something unusual. At the edge of the path, near the old willow tree, there was a new lantern, small, golden, and unfamiliar. Its flame flickered in a peculiar rhythm, as though it were breathing. She tilted her head, curious. Every lantern in Maple Hollow was handcrafted by the townsfolk, but this one was different. The glass was etched with delicate patterns, almost like constellations, and its light shimmered gently between gold and pale blue. She knelt down, her reflection shimmering on the glass. There was a tiny inscription on the handle, "For those who wander, but never leave." She whispered the words softly, unsure what they meant. She looked around, but the streets were empty. Only the quiet river replied, murmuring under the bridge. She decided to take the lantern home. Whiskerly meowed softly when she entered, as if sensing that something new, something quietly magical had followed her inside. She set the lantern beside her brass one. The two flames flickered together, almost as if they were speaking to each other, one steady and golden, and the other soft and blue, like moonlight caught in glass. She made her tea and sat by the window. The rain had started again, slow and patient. Outside, the other lanterns of Maple Hollow shimmered faintly in the mist, but Eleanor's house seemed to glow just a little brighter. And then she heard it. A faint chime, like the sound of wind passing through distant bells. It wasn't from her clock, nor the rain, nor the river. It was coming from the new lantern. Eleanor leaned closer. The blue light swirled, forming faint shapes like stars drifting in a midnight sky. And for the first time in her life, she felt something she couldn't quite name. Not fear, not surprise, but recognition.
Eleanor watched as the blue light pulsed softly, each glow fading slower than the last, like the heartbeat of a sleeping world. The tiny chime continued, gentle and rhythmic, until at last it fell quiet again. For a moment, everything was still. The clock ticked, the rain whispered. Whiskerly shifted in his sleep, curling tighter by the fire. Eleanor sat back in her chair, her teacup warm between her palms. Her gaze drifted again to the words carved on the lantern's handle. For those who wander but never leave. The phrase lingered in her mind, like a tune she almost remembered. She closed her eyes and took a deep breath. When she opened them, she thought she saw, just for an instant, a faint shimmer outside her window. Not lightning, not fireflies, something else. A figure was standing near the willow tree, tall, cloaked, holding a lantern of that same blue light. Eleanor froze. The figure wasn't moving, only watching. And then, as quietly as the mist itself, it lifted its lantern and bowed its head, as though in greeting. The next moment, it was gone. Eleanor's heart should have raced, but instead she felt calm, almost comforted. Something deep inside whispered that she had seen this before, maybe in a dream, maybe long ago. She turned back to the blue lantern. The flame inside now flickered steadily, calm and sure, like it had found its place. The next morning, the rain had cleared. The sky was pale gold, and the maple leaves shone with droplets that glittered like tiny jewels. When Eleanor stepped outside, she noticed something extraordinary. Every doorstep in Maple Hollow had a lantern, the usual ones, yes, but also, here and there, a second lantern, faintly glowing blue. Mrs. Halloway stood outside her bakery, hands on her hips, staring at hers. "Strangest thing," she said as Eleanor passed. "Found it this morning. I don't remember putting it there." "Did it have an inscription?" Eleanor asked softly. Mrs. Halloway nodded. It said, "For those who wander but never leave." They exchanged a quiet look, that wordless understanding that sometimes passes between people when something beyond explanation brushes against their world. That night, when the bells of Maple Hollow struck 8, every lantern, gold and blue alike, began to glow together. The town shimmered as though wrapped in a blanket of stars, and somewhere, perhaps from beyond the hills, came the faint sound of bells, soft, distant, and kind. Eleanor sat by her window once more, whiskerly purring by her feet. She sipped her tea and whispered to herself, "Maybe some of us never really leave. We just find new ways to stay." The lantern flickered in reply, once, twice, and the room felt a little warmer, a little softer, as sleep slowly found her eyes. The next few days drifted by, in their usual quiet rhythm. The bakery filled the air with warm scents each morning. The postwoman whistled as she rode her bicycle down Main Street.
and the soft chime of the clock tower marked the passing of hours that no one seemed to hurry through. But underneath the gentle peace of Maple Hollow, something new was stirring. A curiosity shared by every soul in town. Where had the blue lanterns come from? Why did they appear all at once, as if summoned by the rain itself? Eleanor, ever the lover of stories, began searching for answers in her library. She climbed the wooden ladder, brushed the dust from the highest shelves, and opened the oldest books, ones written by hand, their ink faded, their pages soft with age. In one forgotten corner of an old town record, she found it. A name written in elegant cursive, the Keeper of the Light. It wasn't a person's name exactly, more like a title, and beneath it a small passage that made her heart beat just a little faster. When hearts grow restless and wander beyond their years, the keeper lights a lantern so their peace may reappear. Not all journeys end in leaving, some end in staying still. Eleanor read the lines again and again. It felt like poetry, but also, somehow, a promise. That evening she took the old blue lantern back to the willow tree. The sun had already set, and the first drops of rain were beginning to fall, slow, deliberate, and soft. She placed the lantern at the tree's roots and whispered, "If you're out there, Keeper of the Light, thank you." For a long while, nothing happened, only the rain and the rustle of leaves. But then, she saw it again. A faint figure appeared across the river, cloaked in mist and light. This time there were several figures, each holding a lantern, each glowing the same tranquil blue. They stood silently, like guardians of some forgotten promise. Eleanor didn't move. She didn't need to. The figures lifted their lanterns in unison, and the rain seemed to pause, hanging in midair like silver threads. And in that stillness, Eleanor understood, not with her mind, but with her heart. The blue lanterns weren't for the living or the dead. They were for the in-between. For those who had loved Maple Hollow so deeply that even after time carried them away, a small part of their warmth remained, flickering softly in the night. The keeper didn't collect souls. He kept memories alive. Every lantern was a memory, a gentle light left behind by someone who once called Maple Hollow home. Eleanor smiled through her tears. She whispered, "Then I'll take care of them for you. All of them." The figures slowly faded into the mist, and for a moment, Maple Hollow was brighter than it had ever been. From that night onward, Eleanor became known as the new Keeper of the Light. She tended to the lanterns, polishing them, lighting them at dusk, and telling their stories to anyone who would listen. Children loved to visit her little home by the river. They'd bring biscuits for Whiskerly and listen as Eleanor spoke softly about the lanterns that glowed when it rained. And sometimes, on quiet nights, if you walk through Maple Hollow and listen closely, you might hear a soft chime in the distance and see a faint blue glow by the old willow tree. Some say it's just the reflection of the river, but the people of Maple Hollow know better. They say it's Eleanor, still keeping the light, still watching over the town she loved.
And so, if you ever find yourself restless at night, longing for a place where everything slows down, just close your eyes and let the lanterns of Maple Hollow guide you home.
The night deepens over Maple Hollow. The lanterns glow like quiet constellations scattered across the town, on windowsills, along fences, drifting faintly in puddles where raindrops fall like silver coins. Eleanor sits by her window, her hands wrapped around a warm cup of tea. Her hair glows softly in the lantern light, and her eyes reflect the gentle shimmer of 100 memories floating through the mist. Outside, the willow tree sways. Each movement seems to breathe life into the night, like the town itself is dreaming. She closes her notebook and looks out toward the horizon, where the hills meet the clouds. It's peaceful, perfectly, impossibly peaceful. But peace doesn't mean silence. It's full of soft, living sounds, the murmur of the river, the creak of the wooden bridge, the faint coo of a dove sheltering under the eaves. She whispers to herself, "Everything has its rhythm here, even the rain." And indeed, Maple Hollow breathes in rhythm, a slow pulse that can only be felt by those who pause long enough to listen. Eleanor stands and lights one more lantern, this one golden, the color of sunrise. She carries it to the porch, sets it beside the blue one, and smiles as their flames meet in the middle. One the warmth of the living, the other the memory of what remains. She thinks of all the people whose stories the lanterns hold, the baker who laughed through loss, the postwoman who delivered kindness with every letter, the child who once said good night to the stars as if they could hear. And then she whispers, so quietly that only the rain might catch her words. "None of you are forgotten, not one." The flames bow together, as if in gratitude. Whiskerly jumps onto her lap, purring softly, the familiar, steady heartbeat of home. Outside, the glow of Maple Hollow deepens, a patchwork of gold and blue and quiet silver mist. If you were standing on the hill that night, you might mistake it for the reflection of the heavens. But those who know better would tell you, it's the town that remembers. And perhaps, somewhere beyond the hills, the keeper of the light watches with a gentle smile, knowing that Maple Hollow will never fade, not as long as even one lantern burns. So, as you drift into sleep tonight, imagine those lanterns glowing softly in the rain, each one a whisper of warmth, each one a promise that somewhere in the world peace still lives, glowing, waiting, remembering. Breathe slowly. Let the rain fall in your mind, and the lights of Maple Hollow guide you home. Imagine the lanterns flickering gently outside the little library window. Their glow wraps around the cobblestone streets like a soft blanket. Every corner of the town holds a memory, a quiet laugh, a gentle whisper, the scent of bread and maple leaves lingering in the air. Now picture Eleanor sitting by her window, whiskerly curled on her lap. The steam of her tea rises slowly, curling like little clouds, disappearing into the calm night. She takes a slow sip, letting the warmth fill her hands, her chest, and her heart. The river beside the willow tree murmurs softly, carrying tiny ripples across the water. Every drop that falls from the sky adds to the lullaby of the night. Feel yourself drifting along with the current, weightless, gentle,
and safe. Above, the stars peek through soft clouds, twinkling faintly. And if you listen carefully, you might hear the softest hum, the heartbeat of Maple Hollow itself. It's steady, comforting, a reminder that even when everything feels quiet, life moves gently, peacefully. Imagine walking slowly down the misty streets, one lantern lighting your way, each step soft against the cobblestones. The baker waves from her warm kitchen. The postwoman pauses for a moment, nodding with a small smile. Even the trees sway in rhythm with your breathing, leaves brushing softly against each other. With each step, your body feels lighter. Your thoughts grow quieter, like clouds dissolving in the night sky. Let your mind float, as if you are becoming part of the gentle glow around you. Now picture the blue lanterns shimmering along the river, each one a story, a memory, a soft promise of peace. One by one they light up, as if acknowledging your presence, welcoming you into the calm. Your eyelids feel heavy. Your breath deepens, slow and rhythmic. Every inhale brings calm. Every exhale releases tension. The town sleeps, and so do you. The lanterns keep watch. The river hums a lullaby. The willow sways gently. And in this quiet golden blue glow, everything is as it should be. Breathe and let yourself drift. Let Maple Hollow hold you, safe, warm, and peaceful.
Outside, the lanterns sway gently in the night breeze, casting dancing shadows on the cobblestones. Each shadow moves slowly, like the stretch of a cat curling, or the sway of tree branches, soft and predictable, comforting in its rhythm. Eleanor steps quietly onto the porch, carrying a small brass lantern. The glow touches the edges of the ivy climbing her home, turning it gold for a brief, peaceful moment. She breathes in the cool night air, the faint smell of rain, wet earth, and the lingering sweetness of maple syrup from the bakery, and feels a calm settle deep into her chest. Whiskerly follows, padding softly behind her, tail curling like a question mark. He meows once, softly, as if reminding her that even the smallest companions are part of the night's quiet magic. The town is asleep, but its heartbeat continues. The distant clock tower chimes softly, and Eleanor pauses to listen. Each note stretches slowly into the night, lingering just long enough for the heart to follow along, rhythm by rhythm. She walks along the river path, the water reflecting the glow of the lanterns like liquid stars. A soft mist rises, wrapping the town in a gentle haze. Each breath of air carries the quiet hum of the town, the gentle creak of wooden shutters, the faint sigh of the willow tree, and the soft murmur of the river as it curls around stones. Eleanor pauses by the edge of the bridge, leaning on the railing. She watches as the lanterns flicker in the river's reflection, their golden and blue flames stretching and bending like slow dancers. Her mind drifts unhurried, floating along the ripples of the water. Each ripple seems to whisper a lullaby. Rest now. All is calm. All is safe. Above, the clouds part slightly, revealing a single star twinkling faintly. It seems to pulse with the rhythm of the lanterns, the river, and the town itself. A soft reminder that everything moves together, perfectly, gently. Eleanor walks back slowly, her steps soft against the cobblestones. Each step is deliberate, slow, peaceful. The lanterns along the way sway slightly, their glow brushing across her path, welcoming her home again. By the time she reaches her window, she feels the fullness of the night's calm. She places her lantern on the sill beside the blue one and watches as their lights blend into the soft glow of the sleeping town. She sits with Whiskerly on her lap, tea forgotten now, watching the lanterns sway and shimmer. Her eyes grow heavy, each blink slower than the last. The world outside is quiet. Maple Hollow holds its breath. And as Eleanor drifts into sleep, so do you, dear dreamer. Let your body sink into the bed. Feel the gentle rhythm of your breathing, slow and steady. Imagine the lantern's glow wrapping around you like a warm blanket. Feel the river's soft hum, the trees' gentle sway, the town's heartbeat guiding you.
The night grows deeper, and a soft mist rises from the river, curling around the cobblestone streets and the maple trees. The town is wrapped in a quiet glow, gold and blue, flickering gently from lanterns on every doorstep. Eleanor sits by her window one last time, Whiskerly curled on her lap, his purring blending with the soft rhythm of the rain. She watches the lights dance in the mist, feeling the warmth of every story, every memory, every quiet act of kindness that lives in Maple Hollow. The willow tree sways gently, brushing the edges of the river, and Eleanor imagines the keeper of the light, a quiet, unseen presence, tending the lanterns and watching over the town with a gentle smile. All is calm. All is peaceful. The town breathes slowly, and so do you. Let your eyelids grow heavier, your arms, your legs, your whole body sinking into comfort. Feel the warmth of the lanterns wrapping around you like a soft protective blanket. Hear the faint hum of the river, the distant chime of the clock tower, and the soft rustle of leaves in the night breeze. Maple Hollow is alive with quiet magic, not loud or urgent, but steady and gentle. Each glowing lantern is a memory, a promise, a reminder that even in stillness, life holds beauty and warmth. Breathe in slowly. Breathe out. Let the soft glow guide your thoughts to calmness, your heart to peace, and your body into rest. Tonight, the town sleeps, Eleanor sleeps, and you, dear listener, drift gently into a safe, warm, and serene sleep. The lanterns will watch over you. The river will hum softly, the trees will sway with quiet grace, and the world of Maple Hollow will remain, glowing gently in the night, carrying you safely into dreams. Good night, sleep well, and may the soft lights of Maple Hollow guide you home.